What's up, guys? Craig, Fergie Time. Today, I got something a little different. Usually, I chat with other cool people doing cool stuff in the off-road world or nature world or Jeep world or whatever. But today, you're stuck with me. I'm going to talk about what got me into Jeeping, some of my favorite mods, and then, I just figured, hey, this is a chance to do in-between interviews, and hopefully I get into some cool stuff, and I hope you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, welcome. First Fergie Time solo podcast, and I'm excited about it. I just wanted to give you guys a chance to know a little bit more about me, how I got into Jeeping and just all that great stuff, and how it's done just so awesome. A lot of awesome things for me that I really appreciate, and talk about some of my favorite trails, favorite mods. So buckle up, and let's start at the beginning. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and in high school, I remember driving around with a bunch of friends in a CJ, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. We would go everywhere, and I really wanted a Jeep back then, but my parents were like, no, you're not allowed because it will tip. And obviously, the older Jeeps back there were known to tip. And so I didn't do that. And I bought my first ride was a 81 Chevy Chevette, metallic green. Oh yeah. Just got rid of that, joined the military, came out to Colorado, drove some Humvees in Colorado. That was my first kind of actual off-roading experience, because even though I grew up in Pennsylvania and we had some trails, it really wasn't wheeling trails. So my first experience was in the military on a Humvee. And then once I got out of the military, got married, did the whole job thing, and didn't really have a lot of time to try to buy a Jeep or anything like that, and really didn't know much about Jeeping back then. We got a Isuzu Rodeo, and that was our first actual off-roading machine, and it did us well. Then we had kids and kind of went away from that until I finally bought a Jeep Liberty for myself. That was my first Jeep. Don't hate me. It was okay. It was, I used it for what it was. And my daughter at that time was 16, wanted her own ride, and we got her Range Rover Discovery. And, I loved the boxy look to it, and we ended up trading. She took my Jeep because it was a little more bougie, and the Discovery was a little more off-roady for me. So I liked it. It worked well. I didn't really do many modifications with it. And I just realized, oh my gosh, I'm spending way too much money on this machine. So sold that, started looking for a Jeep. The first Jeep I looked at was a JK 2-door. It was so trash. I'm so glad I didn't buy it, even though I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know if I wanted a JK, a TJ, whatever. My second vehicle I looked for that I looked at was a 1998 green Jeep Wrangler. So it was a TJ. Loved it. I think 33s, maybe a 2-inch lift. Had the off-road lights, the KC lights on the front, and man, I thought it was just so rad. And the most off-road thing I did was I would park on a snowbank in a parking lot, and we'd be like, oh, this is the Jeep parking. So that was about as much off-road as I did back then. And then my son, when he became 16, he really wanted the Jeep. And I didn't know if it was maybe to pick up girls or just drive around with the top off or anything like that. So it's like, all right, it's a manual. Every car or vehicle I've owned has been a manual. So he took it, and I decided, all right, it's time for me to get another Jeep. So I bought my current Jeep, 2011 Sport Wrangler JKU. red, had to be red. Whatever I got had to be red. That was it. Didn't really start working on my Jeep until my son. They talk about the whole father-son bonding experience is definitely in the garage. I've coached all my kids in soccer. I've done a lot, but working with your kiddos on a vehicle together and you're accomplishing something together, there's something to be said for that, which is just awesome. He would work on halo lights, so I work on my halo lights. We did rock lights, we did new bumpers and the winch and all that fun stuff and fenders. And I heard the whole just empty every pocket when I first got my Jeep, and I didn't think it was true. Oh my gosh, it definitely was. I thought maybe it meant the Jeep just broke down all the time, but no, it's because you always want to make it better. There's always something else to make it better. We live in Colorado. We didn't hit a lot of trails. We would hit some dirt roads, Mount Herman, Gold Camp, stuff like that. If you're familiar with the area, that was like our first involvement with any kind of wheeling. And then COVID hit 2020 and everybody's bored at home. You get on Instagram, you start looking around, you start looking at, what can I do with my Jeep? Oh my gosh, there's so many Jeep accounts out there. And that's when I decided, hey, let's do a Jeep account. Like all these other Jeepers, you have to give your Jeep a name. And I never really named the vehicle before. So I'm like, what am I going to name this Jeep? And it had to be something that was me, yet cool and like soccer related. My favorite soccer team is Manchester United. The best soccer coach at that time was Sir Alex Ferguson. I coach. He's my mentor, my role model. He's the person I look up to. My license plate is Sir Alex. Fergie was born. No, it's not Fergalicious. It's not from the Black Eyed Peas. And I kind of had a Manchester United theme Jeep. So whatever I do, I'm all in. So I had my big, Manchester United logos on there. I rocked the number 7. I'm big into number 7. So that's what it was. It was Manchester United theme Jeep, Fergie, the JKU. And, another reason I made the Instagram is because all my Facebook friends kind of got sick of me posting everything about Jeeps on that page. So I wanted to give them a break and just find, some more people who I wanted to hang out with and ride with and do stuff with to the Jeep. And yeah, I just kind of, that's where I fell down the rabbit hole, and I started the Instagram. I would just basically document the build. My son was big into 3D printing, so he would print some stuff for me, some like vents or something, and I would post that on there. And then my wife is a photographer, so I got some great Jeep pictures, and I work in graphic design. So it kind of went hand in hand. And back then, Instagram was mainly pictures, and it was pretty easy to rack up a lot of followers and get a lot of engagement. When I first started getting into trails, first time I got hooked, I went, we had a group run out in Colorado. We went to Rainbow Falls, and we did this little offshoot on the way. And it was pretty intense. I had to get spotted up. And once I made it up there, I was like, oh my gosh, that was so thrilling. That was so cool. So wanted more. So I would hit more simple trails in Colorado. One thing I did learn that you guys should definitely learn as well is when they say don't wheel alone, it means don't wheel alone. I wheeled, out in Peyton where I'm at. It's kind of fieldy, but there's some trails. And I went out there one time when it was snowing just to have some fun. And sure enough, I got stuck. There's no trees to winch off of or anything. So luckily, being in Colorado, there's a lot of cool people out here that's willing to help you out. And sadly, I had a gladiator come and help me. And if you know me at all, I make fun of gladiators, but I can't make fun of Andy's gladiator anymore because he definitely helped me out and saved me that day. Another thing that I learned with my Jeep early on was to figure out what I wanted to do with it. So, when I first got the Jeep, it was like, ooh, I want this cool roof rack. So I got this Smittybilt roof rack. I got these jerry can holders on the back of my Jeep next to each side of the spare tire, and it was red, and I had the light bar up top, and now I did all these crazy stuff, and dude, you don't need any of that. So I got rid of the roof rack, I got rid of the jerry cans, which I never used. I got rid of the light bar up top. I decided I wanted to be more of a rock crawler. So I got a new axle. I found a Dana 44 on Facebook Marketplace. It was a Rubicon, so it had a locker. It was gusseted. It was sleeves. I got some chromoly axles with it. It had a locker. It had 513 gears. So then I re-geared the back, got some adjustable control arms, got a 4-inch Skyjacker lift, coils, shocks, and went to 37s. And I got some Cooper STT Pros, and they've been awesome for me. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm loving it. I enjoy it. A lot of things I can go over. But like they said, just empty every pocket. I do want a long arm kit. That's the next thing I'm going to get. But before I get more into where I want to go, another thing that I learned before we get too far into the future of mods and things that I want is another lesson that I learned is try not to go snow wheeling when there's shelf roads. Oh, flashback. If you look at my Instagram, you'll see the roll. And I rolled on Chinaman. I went to a wheeling spot with some good buddies of mine, Mike and Steven, and it was fun. I was loving it. It was probably my favorite wheeling trip. I did some awesome stuff. I had a great time with some awesome people, and sure enough, on the way out, hindsight's 2020. I hit a tree root. Back wheel kind of started to slide a little bit, and I should have gassed it. Well, first off, I shouldn't have hit that tree root. I didn't need to be that far high, but I should have gassed it out. I would have made it, but I kind of panicked when I started sliding, and I was like, oh my gosh, is this what's going on? I'm going to go down a ditch. And then sure enough, I rolled over. Grace of God, I walked away. I got out, walked away. I did a story, and I looked at where this big boulder was just above my head, and I was just like, oh, I was so thankful. In that moment, I was like, I'm getting rid of the Jeep. I'm done. This is it. I don't want to deal with this. Later on, the next day, it was like, all right, it's probably totaled. Maybe this time I'll get an automatic Jeep. And then after that, we actually got it out, and I drove it. I drove it off the trail once we saved it. And it was such a life experience for me. It was probably one of the hardest things I ever did. Colorado 4x4 Rescue Recovery is freaking amazing. I can't thank them enough. But they got the Jeep out. We got it on all 4 tires. And then Evan, who was one of the leaders with that crew, he actually spotted me out. And I was like freaking, like my white knuckles on the steering wheel, because all I could do is look over, see where I rolled, and I thought I was going to roll again. To this day, when I'm on a shelf road and I'm passing another car or something close, I get a little PTSD. I'm not going to lie. It definitely, I have to breathe and, okay, Craig, you got this. Let's go. And I did it. I made it through, got it out, got it home, looked at the damage. I needed a new windshield frame. I needed some roll bars on the side. I needed a new hardtop, driver's side door. That was about it. Met a great couple down in Pueblo. Actually, a great family, off-road affair. They're freaking amazing, and they helped me out. I don't know how to fix all this stuff, and they were amazing, and I'll be so thankful to them for forever. So anyway, we got the Jeep fixed. Not new to me parts on it. Got it drivable again. Brought it home. And I was like, all right, I needed a new driver's side door anyway. So ripped off all the decals. And that's how I got that checkered look that you see on the Jeep today. And you could see it's still Fergie. It's always going to be Fergie. But now it's not just solely Manchester United Jeep because, well, one, they kind of suck right now. But anyways, I've kind of evolved, and I've gotten more into my own style and a couple mods about my Jeep. I ripped out the back seat because I have a couple of big dogs, Duke and Stella. They're both Mastiffs, and I wanted to give them some room in the back. So made a little platform for them. The first mod I got after the roll was a rock hard 4x4 roll cage. I got the sport cage. I got the full sport cage that goes all the way back, and it even does the C-pillars. Of course, I had to give it a little something and add some checker to it. I recently just got some tack form mounting brackets, which, dude, game changer. They're going to take over the Jeep world. I had 67 designs. I had bullet point. They ain't got nothing on these guys. These guys are incredible to chat with. I got a new phone mount. I've got a tablet mount. I got a cool mount for my Midland radio that has like a super power magnet, and I have it up on my head so it's secure, but I can hear everything on the trails. Oh, I didn't mention my seats. Probably my favorite mod is my PRP seats. Fergie logo on there. They're like a red vinyl checkerboard harness, PRP harness, checkerboard steering wheel, the removable steering wheel. If you do remove your steering wheel, make sure you wear the harnesses all the time and not the lap belt. You can even probably just get rid of it, to be honest with you. But so those are some of my favorite mods that I currently have. The next steps I want to go to is, using PRP harnesses. Full doors, it's not a great mix when you're out on the trails and you're driving over rocks, and you need to be able to see where your wheel placement is. And I'm going to get some half doors here soon. And then after the half doors, I need a long arm kit. I'm looking at the Skychecker one at the moment, and I'm going to probably try to pull the trigger at the end of the season and get ready for that for next year. Oh, and as far as the top goes, Sunrider best top is game changer. That is a miracle. I love it. I like to rock the hardtop year round, being in Colorado, and it's so easy to just open up that best top Sunrider. You could do it with one hand. You could do it while you're kind of slowly driving or at a stoplight. Super easy. If it rains, just bring it back. That's kind of really all I wanted to share with you guys today. Just kind of how I got started, some of my favorite mods that I have, some of the mods that I'm going to get, and my next solo podcast, I'll probably talk about different trails, some of my favorite trails in Colorado, which ones I want to hit, places I still want to go to. And then I have a lot of other stuff going on too. I'm getting involved with Seven Nation, which is going to take over Jeep World. I hope it's going to do chapters, and this website sells any product you need, the most coolest apparel, stuff like that. Thanks for watching, listening. Fergie, the JKU.com is where I list all my discount codes for every cool company that I work with. And just, I really appreciate you guys, and hopefully I see you soon. Thanks. Later.